Good morning and welcome to In the News with myself, Savvy Sapphire. Welcome to a new month and a new week. We're on the 4th of October already. Coming towards the end of the year, we're in our last quarter in business and in employment. So I hope you're looking forward to this last quarter and got lots of things planned. I myself had a lovely weekend and we have quite a few things in the news today that I would like to share with you. If you've got any comments or would like to make any suggestions, don't forget to leave your name in the comment feed so I can say good morning to you all. So, what have we got this morning? Well, we've got investments. The Spanish rental market expecting to heat up as owners this year. Accommodation rental platform HomeLike has high hopes for the Spanish rental market, estimating that the rental of the mid and long-term accommodation in Spain will generate over 166 million this year. HomeLike has calculated a number of euros by multiplying the average monthly rental price of a temporary home by the number of homes that exist on its platform, which is aimed at businesses, travelers, and digital nomads. The manager Spain of this company says reservations in Spain for this type of accommodation has grown by 20% in 2021 to date, which shows how quickly the mid-term rental market is recovering compared to other alternatives such as tourist rental, which has not yet taken off. This trend confirms that in the tricky world of real estate, mid-term rentals are a safer option for owners than shorter, more traditional tourist, leisure and rentals, both economically and in terms of reservations. The growth in the digital nomads working remotely from cities around the globe has driven high demand for this type of accommodation. The Spanish rental market, just under 2.5 hours away by plane, Spain is much loved by travel destinations for Brits who enjoy a warmer climate. Now, I love going to Spain. We'll go to Spain when we were going on holidays. Every year we would travel to different parts of Spain and we absolutely loved it because it is short distance. Do you go to Spain? Do you love Spain yourself? And would you look at investing in Spain as well? These are the things I'd love to hear from you. So please share. The Spanish rental market is just under 2.5 hours, as I said. So how do you feel about flying just a short hop and skip across the waters? According to HomeLike's recent data, mid-term rental reservations in Spain rose by 340% in 2021 compared to 321% in 2019. The findings also show that the average rental price for mid-term homes in Spain is 1,655 euros each month. In Madrid and Barcelona, the amount tends to increase, but currently around 1,690 and 1,719 euros each month paid on an average. So what do you think about that? Do you like Spain? Have you traveled to Spain yourself? Tell me about whether you have and do you enjoy going on holiday? What was your last holiday destination? Since we've come out of lockdown, has anyone traveled anywhere? Please feel free to share. In avenues, China update, increased interest in UK resi buying and a demand bounce back. Interest from China in the UK property is bouncing back according to experts on the Chinese buying market in Britain. Chief Executive of Chinese Planning and Marketing Consultancy Emerging Communications says a new round of restrictions designed to cool down Chinese housing market is leading to growing interest in the UK residential market and buying despite the stamp duty holiday ended last month. In total, over 300 new regulations have been introduced across Chinese multi-cities disciplinaries, designed to limit investing in housing. Measures range from increasing the loan rates to issuing or official buying coupons. The introduction of the new regulations was understandably given the soaring prices seen in some areas in China and witness increase in the premium property values of 53% in less than 4 years. The dampening measures are working with property sales growing weaker. The results is more invest focus on overseas properties that provides better returns in the UK being in the central point of interest. There is no shortage of funds to invest. They currently hold more than 27 trillion. I can't even say the word trillion in investable assets, growing to an annual rate of 13%, according to reports. China Merchant Bank. By 2025, it is predicted that the amount will reach to 33.5 trillion, she said. China's economic growth will continue to fuel demand to invest while at the same time generate greater numbers of high-income families wanting to diversify financial portfolios abroad. Bloomberg predicts that economic growth of 8.9% for this year, while it's not as fast as pre-pandemic levels, it is a significant more than enough to sustained demand for overseas property acquisition. So what do you think about investing overseas? Do you think, going overseas, do you think that if you're in the UK, would you want to invest overseas? I want to hear your thoughts on this because I like investing abroad. I think it's more beneficial to have a diverse portfolio as well. So when you're looking at investing abroad, have you decided on what areas you'd like to invest in? Please feel free to share your thoughts on this. I'd love to hear what you have to say. It also goes on to say Chinese demand for the UK property has remained remarkably stable since 2014, with the UK market share of the Chinese buying inquiries changed from 0.4% in time. They went on to say the UK renowned education section is the primary driver for sustainable for the Chinese demand of UK properties. So our educational system is obviously raving enough for the Chinese to want to buy over here, but there's a lot of countries that are now investing in the UK. Do you think this is a good thing for the economy for us in the UK? Please share your thoughts. Chinese households will hold US dollars 46.3 trillion in investable assets by 2025 and have demonstrated preference for the property investments. That gives them both the means and desire for investing in the UK. In avenues, the stamp duty holiday made first-time buyers 25k worse off. Now, as you know, the stamp duty came to a close on the 29th of September this year, so we're no longer getting any form of discounts. But marketing estate agent comparison website getagent.co.uk recently revealed how stamp duty holidays have made house prices difficult for first-time buyers to afford. Get Agency conducted research by cross-referencing data from all of the major portals with land registry. This data was then analysed using an algorithm and participation from partner agents. The impact with the stamp duty holiday has on the first-time buyers as well. In July last year, the stamp duty holiday, a tax reduction on the property prices, was introduced in the housing market. In July this year, the threshold reduced from 500,000 to 250,000, and at the end of this month, it will return to the 125,000 threshold. According to getagent.co.uk, the stamp duty holiday has increased the prices for first-time buyers by an average of 11.7% in England in last year and up to 31.5% in other parts of the country. Founder and Chief Executive of getagent.co.uk, Colburn Shaw, explains, however, while many existing homeowners will have the benefit from a boost in the value of their home, the reality is that the nation's first time buyers are worse off when it comes to taking the first step on the property ladder. Although mortgage costs remain very favourable at present, the sheer increase in property values and deposits require will see many either forced to save for longer, or prices priced out of the market completely. The average price for first-time buyers are paying. The research at Get Agency concludes that before the holiday began, the average price of first-time buyers' home was 212,166, but currently this is 236,982, with an increase of 11.7%. That's an increase of 24,816. Northwest has seen the highest increase, with the average first-time buyer now paying 16.9% more compared to July. Yorkshire and Humber saw a 14.8% increase. The North East had a 13.4% increase, and the West Midlands saw an increase of 13%, along with the East Midlands jumped to 12.9%. Other parts of England that experienced sharp price rises was Norfolk, North Norfolk at 23%, North Devon at 19%, and the Cotswolds at 18%, along with Hastings at 18%. In contrast, though, the stamp duty holiday caused a drop of 4.1% within the City of London by 4%, and the Westminster by 3%, Southwark by 1.4%, and Kensington and Chelsea significantly dropped price drops. The average first-time home buyer in these locations cost 1.1 million in July 2020. Yet it's seen a 6.5 decrease of 75,093 pounds. Although prices in these areas did decline, they remain largely unaffordable for the first-time buyer. Now, if you're looking to buy a property as a first-time buyer, are you struggling to find that elusive property, to find that you're being priced out of the market, not only because house prices have risen, but because of the stamp duty? Please feel free to share. Good morning, Charlene. Thank you so much for being here. How are we doing this morning? What do you think about the first-time buyers being priced out of the market? Are you looking to invest in any investments? In avenues, home improvements led demand for financing in lockdown, brokers said. There has been an increase of demand for financing to fund home refurbishment projects over the past 6 months. That is according to recent surveys from Shawbrook Bank, with 87% of second charge brokers witnessing this trend. The majority of clients looking for finance options to fund a redecoration project. Some 41% brokers said that their clients were funding the fitting of a new kitchen or bathroom. The same percentage required finance to fund an extension or loft conversion. Now, why do you think this funding went up, or people were requiring more funding? What do you think the shift was? Now, I really think the shift was because if you're going to be at home, you want your home to look nice. So therefore, if you've got any outstanding things to do, i.e. bathrooms, kitchens, a loft conversion, or even an extension, it's giving you more space, and it's giving you more nicer space to live in as well. But also it does increase the value of your property. Kitchens and bathrooms are well known for increasing the value of your property. So when they're doing this, they are also increasing the value in the property. Alongside loft conversions and side extensions or back extensions, these will always add value to your property in an upwards of 10k plus. So when you're looking to do something, always make sure that you're increasing the value in your property. So if you're borrowing money, you know that at the end of the day, you've added more than what you've actually borrowed. It also goes on to say the combination of remote working and spending greater amounts of time at home is likely to have led to the rise of demand in refurbishing finance. A popular way that customers have been funding their refurbishments is through a second charge mortgage. A second charge mortgage is also known as a secured loan or second mortgage, allows customers to borrow money without remortgaging their home. When asked for their outlook on the future, brokers who specialize in second charge mortgage market were nearly three times more confident on the outlook of lending environment at the rest of the year compared to the end of 2020 when asked previously. In the same group of brokers surveyed, 75% said they were confident in the opportunity for business growth when thinking ahead to the remainder of this year. So we're now in the last quarter, so they must be thinking ahead. This is a significant from the 90% who said they felt confident in December 2020. Gavin Sealholm, head of sales of Shawbrook Bank Limited, comments, the past 18 months have required many of us to spend longer at home than we ever would have before, with working, socializing and exercising all taking place within the same four walls. It's no surprise, which I agree, that people are looking to expand or make changes to their home. While for many, savings may have gone up in lockdown, taking a big renovation can quickly add up. If your client is planning to undertake a refurbishment or extension, larger or smaller, it is important to discuss all their finance options with them. A number of landlords and property investors continue to rely on personal loans or credit cards to finance their DIY projects, which can be riskier, more expensive, an approach to take. Understanding your client's aims for the projects as well as their financial situations will help them to make informed choices, as he concludes. So, what do you think of that? Do you really believe that, what when you're looking at refurbishments, would you go for a secured loan, or would you just try to fund it yourself or refinance your property to get the funds rather than getting a second mortgage? Please feel free to share your comments. In avenues, a property investment, the fueling the rapid growth of the suburban build to rent market. One of the key problems facing the UK housing market can be boiled down to lots of demand and not enough supply. The blockage, despite the government's best efforts to shift it, continues to undoubtedly not be adhered to or even anything happening with. Instead, it's been cleared up in the efforts to spread to the rental market as home ownership levels fall, creating an increase in renters at a steady rise in property prices. If things didn't seem bad enough for the sector, COVID-19 caused a new problem for the housing market. The pandemic's effects on our work and home lives have caused a noticeable of the residents looking to move from cities to the suburbs, more space being their primary motivator. Another big pull is the fact that extra rooms to work in and options for a garden are well within the rental budget for many when you look beyond the limits of the big city. A viable option to help with demand build to rent is a new option being seen as practical ways to satisfy the market newfound desires to live in the suburbs. Build to rent is a distinct class within the private rented sector and consists of exactly what the name implies, building new homes specifically for renters, not buyers. The focus development means that homes are being built to head off some of the biggest issues we also face that renters are facing and quickly emerging as a solution to the housing crisis and suburban-based tenant demand. In the past year, it has been seen that the shift of renters' behaviours firsthand. There's been a surge in tenants keen to swap smaller city accommodations for larger suburban homes, and this desire makes it the switch hasn't tailed off in the lockdown either. Build to rent has led to rapid growth in the number of planning permission submitted to increase of 52% during the pandemic year. I also predict that this will increase because people building to rent now is a new phenomenon. It came out of the American market, and the UK has now latched onto this. And building to rent out your accommodation, not sell it, is becoming very, very more popular over here with many developers, and really is a good way to go to alleviate the rental market as well. There's a stark contrast to older rental properties that have been kitted out to the same spec as by a private landlord who would understandably try to recoup his investment by charging more rent. Money is a huge motivator, but there are some other key benefits for tenants choosing buy to rent, such as long leases and more layer routes in the area easier to commute to, and is perfect for families as well. So what do you think about the build to rent market? Do you think it's a good idea? Please feel free to share your opinion. In avenues revealed the regions generating the most rent for landlords. An investment firm has flagged up the most recent announced move by banking giants Lloyds. Tenants are paying more than 70 billion of rents to landlords in a year, research claims. Buy-to-let specialist Square Property Investment has found the best regions for rental income for landlords in relation to the local gross domestic product, GDP. It found that across the UK, the average tenant pays 12,626 in rent each year, equating to the total income in excess of 69.4 billion across 2.2 million privately rented homes, which compares with estimated GDP of the UK. The income generated via the private rental market is equivalent to 3.2%. London tops the list where the most rent is paid. Each year, 21.4 billion is generated in rental income, equating to 4.3% of the region's GDP, Square Property said. The southeast, the southwest, and the east of England are the only other regions where the average monthly rental sits above the 1,000 threshold. As a result, 9.1 billion is generated in rental income across in the southeast on an annual basis, the equivalent of 2.8% of the region's GDP. Across the southeast, southwest, and east of England, the private rental market brings in 1.6 million each year, equivalent to 3.7% and 3.2% for their respective regional GDPs, according to the research. So what do you think about generating income, landlords generating income, and it's reaching these high figures now? Please feel free to share. He said the most private rented areas stock is London. Private stock is 1,042. Average annual rent in London is 20,556. It says Southwest average income is 12,072. And if we go as far as Scotland, the average rental income is 9,996 per year. What's your thoughts on the spread of income coming from rental properties over this period of time? In avenues, low rental supply pushes demand and rental increase records high. Wow. Record demand and low levels of supply has pushed the number of tenants experiencing rental increase to new heights, letting agencies claim. The Arla Property Mark private rented sector reported for in August found that the average number of new prospective tenants registered per branch jumped in August to 107 from July's 102. This is the highest figure ever on record for the second month running. However, the number of property managed per letting agent branch decreased from 204 to 196 in August. This coincidence with a record rise in the number of tenants experiencing rent increase, with 79% of agents reporting landlords have increased rent compared to 71% in July. The number of tenants successfully negotiating rent reductions decreased from 1.1% in July to 0.4% in August, the lowest number of record during the month of August since records were begun. It's basically, they said they've taken a closer eye on the overall sector and the rest of the year as the growing concern over house buying jumping ship from buying and selling market is bound to put extra pressure on the private rented sector, it said. In avenues, landlords urged to bail out council for housing shortage. Again, we're talking about the shortage that we have in our housing supply. Coventry Council is the latest to appeal to private landlords to help meet housing obligations. It wants to sign up landlords to its Let Rent Coventry campaign for either 12 to 24 months. Landlords receive a deposit covering up to 5 weeks' rent and guaranteed rent thereafter. The scheme has housed 55 families so far. All the local housing allowance rates since launch in May 2020, with numerous of landlords signed up. So if you have a property in Coventry or looking to buy in Coventry, Coventry Council are looking for landlords like yourself so they can rent your properties from you on a 12 to 24 month basis. It says the accommodation officer says once we help a customer find a new home, they're often relieved and they have found a home that is safe, comfortable, and affordable. It was very satisfying, they went on to say, because some families have been homeless or have been in a temporary accommodation and wanted to start planning for the future. Being in a home that feels more permanent makes a big difference. So this is a campaign that Coventry Council is running. And if you have a home, if you're looking to invest, why not do your investigations with them? Find out from them what type of accommodations that they're looking for, because then you know that you're buying and you effectively could rent it straight to the local authorities, which will be a good win-win for both of you. In avenues, seaside shortage. Tenants' competition rise as interest outweighs availability. Again, we're really pulling through this news this morning about the shortage of property. Supply is not where the demand is at the moment. Seaside living at the top of many tenants' wish list, that is according to Rightmove. As a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, many Brits have welcomed the idea of moving to a seaside location in the UK. Some see this as a safer option rather than moving abroad, as the traffic light system. A set of countries that are safer to travel to continues to rise uncertainty. By analysing more than 400,000 rental listings and compared the available rental stock in July 2021 with June and July 2019, property websites Rightmove was able to measure a current rental availability across pre-pandemic levels. Tenants' competition was measured by comparing the number of tenants inquiring in the area on Rightmove and compared this to the number of available rental properties in that area. Matthew White, director of Holes Roads Dixon of Isle of Wight, says, in more than 30 years working in letting, I've never seen a rental market like this now. Stock levels are reducing year on year and tenant demand is greater than ever before. Known all of these beach and seafronts, walkways, there's different things that you would want to look for when you're on holiday. A lot of people want to buy by the sea because they want to live there. Obviously, we just talked about the red light going abroad, but also people want to also, have somewhere accommodation where they can go and just relax for the weekend. Obviously, if they don't want to travel abroad. What is your thoughts? Where have you traveled this year? Did you find it hard to book accommodation? Would you have loved to have had accommodation, by the seaside, but couldn't get it? Please feel free to share with me. If you've got any comments that you'd like to share, I'd love to hear your feedback. Brilliant, Charlene. I'm glad to hear that you're good. She says, I'd love to finance my property for refurbishment. That's an excellent idea. And that's what a lot of people have done. Pre-COVID and during COVID and after COVID, people are refinancing to really boost their properties and making their properties, you're adding value to it. So anytime you're refinancing, make sure you're using that to add value or to use it to make money, so that you're always making sure that you're covering the cost that you've just borrowed. And that, is there any other questions that you would like to ask me or share with me this morning? I'd love to hear from you. If not, that will be it this week. I'd really love you to reach out and make a comment. And also, one shameless plug. Let me see. I published my book last week. I don't know if you could see it on camera. Oh, lights is in the way. But please feel free to reach out to me to get the book. It's How to Become a Savvy Woman in Property Investing and Nail It. It was launched last week on the 1st of October. I'd love you to go ahead and buy it. It's a brilliant read. Focuses on investment, but it focuses on you as well. It gives an insight to who I was and where I started in property. So go ahead and purchase the book. It's a brilliant. It sets out how you can do it in a safe and succinct way. How I started, where I started, and where I am now. So it gives you my journey alongside where your journey can begin as well. A lot of people don't believe that they could invest in property now, even at the age that they are. And I always say there's no upper limit to the age that you can invest or start your business. Go out there and see yourself shine and be productive how you want to be productive, and be confident in what you're doing. So I hope you all have a brilliant week, a new month, and begin to really build out your investment business, or can start considering building out your investment business. It's been lovely having you here today, and lovely. Thank you for joining me on this live. I really appreciate it. We're back here next week in the news with Savvy Sapphire at 8 a.m. Have a lovely day. Have a lovely week.